more, not pressure, more pride. Like someone from Dundee and someone from Glasgow, do you know, like we're quite lucky to be the first two, as it literally could have been any one of us. As you just don't know how unpredictable drag is.
What me and Ellie represent compared to what Morgan and Rosé represent, they represent an Americanized drag because they are born here, but they grew up or live in America. So their drag is fit for a New York bar. That's where they honed their skills, whatever. I am the product of Alice Rabbit, of Rujazzle, of Oktoberfest. I am the product of my environment as a Scottish queen. You know, the way I act on a mic, the way I host, the way I lip sync, the way I perform, it all comes from the unique history of Scottish drag. It's a new history, but it is, you know, we still have a history of Scottish drag. I feel a pride and a nervousness to represent Scotland because we are so underrepresented as a community that it was fear because, you know, we might really blow it or we might really make it something, you know. But I mean, I always say Scottish drag has a great mix. I think Scottish people on a whole have a better sense of humour and a kind of key into people's wit and making people comfortable as well. That kind of warm charm that can sometimes be lost in, you know, with America, you know, it can be a wee bit flat because they're a bit more professional, whereas we're like, listen, darling, you relax there, you know. So I think drag mixed with Scottish culture is always a winning combination.
Since the Scottish queens haven't had much chance to go out there and really venture and do loads of things, then so getting to see Scottish drag and finally being represented, it's more unique, I think, and there's something special within Scotland that makes us stand out from the rest. The hard thing with it is where I've been told this recently as well, where it's, oh, you know, you live so far away, it's such a struggle for you to come down to Manchester, London, England, X, Y, and Z. It's a hard, you know, it's such a struggle. If you just move down, you know, it'd be so much easier. And I'm like, I don't want to move. Like, I shouldn't have to move my entire drag, my entire living space just to make it easier for me to work. Like, that shouldn't really come into it.
Yeah, I mean, the only place Ellie's going to move is Oz. So
that's very that.
No, I hear that quite a lot because I want to have a career in, you know, film and television, and so many people say, well, it's easier if you know you're down in England. And you know what kind of settled me a little bit was, you know, we're not America where it's 10 hours on a flight to get to the other side of the country. We can get there via megabus, via whatever, so we can make it work, you know, and it is, you know, for what it is, if it's TV and whatever, if they want you so badly, they'll get you, no matter the kind of strings attached. And sadly, I'm very attached to Glasgow, the Gorbals, all that, you know, I'm very, very attached.
Make this better for everybody, than just focusing on the one thing. Be like, I want to get to X, Y, and Z, so I'll just do that. Like keeping it in, always trying to keep home in the back of our minds. You know?
Well, it's all about visibility, isn't it? It's all about, you know, lifting up these voices. You know, we've been very, you know, we're very lucky to have, you know, talented, lovely RuPaul handing us this, you know, opportunity, and we've taken it, you know, but not everyone gets that. But I do think everyone in their own way is a star, and I do think, you know, I have so many local heroes, you know, in drag, out of drag as well. You know, just punters are so, like, they're so supportive and so amazing endlessly. And you know, it's difficult because I don't think this is going to be any one thing fixes it. I think drag queens in Scotland need better pay. Yes, the pay situation in the UK is not as good as it is in America because America has a richer history of club-orientated drag. but in the UK, subjectively in England, they have better pay for queens.
And there's also more opportunities in England. That's another thing. Like when me and Lawrence first got into the workroom and everyone was unpacking and all the drag came out, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, oh yeah, just finished doing the photo shoot of the week for Gucci. And we're like, yeah, we've just came from McDonald's like half an hour ago.
Yeah, Ellie served me and Ellie was working there. Like that's, but she's so right. Ellie's so right, because we walk into the workroom. I've got some frock that my pals made. Ellie's made all her stuff herself. And then you've got Hora unpacking all her shit that's 3D printed. And you're like, what? How does that work? You know, like how as queens that get what, 50 quid to host, 15 if it's a guest slot, all this stuff. 15 quid, how are you getting something 3D printed for that? So it was a real eye-opener to, oh wait, not every queen has this setup. It's not just well, you've not made it yet, so you know the money will come with that. No, it's standardized, your standard way, or the standard format of pay of drag is not the same up here as it should be, and it is in England.
Yeah, I can only speak for myself, but from my personal experience with some clubs, it's like I've done their show every single week for like 2-3 years or whatever, and I've been paid like dust, almost dust, you know. So it's like if I'm doing that much and I'm bringing you money in, then the money should be referred out. Just getting your finger out and actually doing it is, I guess, the important thing.
A lot of people love to say, well, there isn't enough money to endorse, you to get more pay. Let me tell you something. If £50 added onto Ellie's fee, if £50 added onto my fee, Rujazzle's fee, Oktoberfest fee, Alice Rabbit's, Carrie Ann, if £50 is that close-knit to, no, I cannot do that financially, it's unacceptable, why are you still doing business? If you cannot afford £50, which in stock-wise and all that stuff, that is small game, £50. So I do think we're not stupid. We kind of know how business is done. We know how stuff needs to work. These shows aren't dead. These shows are thriving. Support the thriving shows so they can thrive even more, you know? I mean, I totally support Scottish independence. I think my thing is a lot of people are slagging it because it's it's been done before. We've had the vote. It's done. You had your say. Yeah, a lot of the promises as well that we were offered and told you're definitely getting these things, we weren't given. So it's just annoying that. Up here, look at COVID. Look at COVID. We were keeping it under control better. I think Nicola had a better grip at some points than Boris did with opening and relaxing rules and getting us back to a sense of normality. But because there wasn't just one chef in the kitchen, there were, Nicola, Boris, the guy, First Minister from Wales, don't remember the guy's name, but there were so many people going, no, I think that, well, here, but the truth is, Scotland is its own thing. I think Scotland has dealt with COVID really well and really handled it quite well, with the exception of a few, like the Rangers thing that happened last week. On the whole, I think us as Scots, we need to get this under control, and we've really pulled our finger out and made it happen. So I think when it comes to coronavirus, even, we have shown why we need to have power over our own country and what goes on in our country. Because other people aren't living here, so they don't get the day-to-day things of what is actually going on in our country. I voted yes. I voted. I was really nervous because, I was from Helensburgh and there were a lot of people in Helensburgh who worked for Trident. And obviously if there was a vote for yes, that would be against Trident. But my thing was, it's like, we are so unequal on this planet. There's so many more people richer than us. There's so many people more famous than us, and we get overlooked. Every human being gets overlooked on the planet, but we have one thing that we all have the same equivalent right to, and that is to vote. So it's vote for what you stand for, in my opinion.
Lets people know, no matter where you come from, no matter what sort of money you have to do drag race, to do drag, you don't have to have the biggest budget. You don't have to have a supporting family. You don't have to have all the nice necessities that you maybe want to have to do drag. If you have a passion for it, and if it's your goal to succeed in it, do it, and do it with the best ability. Learn how to do it yourself, because it's going to cost you. It's going to save you money, and it's going to save you time in the future. So yeah, if you're starting out drag, literally just like learn how to do it yourself, and then because you get more props for it as well.
I love it. RuPaul told Ellie once, and you made this? Yeah. Now Ellie's a changed queen. She's like, I'm making everything from now. I really wanted to show, when I went on the show, I was really nervous because I love quite dark humor and quite cutting humor as well. But there is a sensitive side to me that, the reason I get away with the jokes I tell to my pals and stuff like that is because my pals know it's not malicious, it's not hateful, and there is a kind of sensitive side to me. So I really wanted to show that you're not just an evil, cold-hearted bitch. You can be sensitive and hug someone and talk to someone about something really important, and then after it, once it's all cool, once they've had a wee moment, you can go, right, slut, I'm gonna steal your eyeshadow palette now, see you on the runway. I really wanted to show that it's all right to open up about your emotions, especially as a fat person. I've been given and thrown so many things by society. I was told in school I was too fat, too this, too that. So maybe it's my time to throw the mud at them and go, listen, we're going to have a joke about this because society tells me I'm not good enough and we're going to make a joke about it.